What if your safe home suddenly turned into a nightmare? What if the people you loved most became your greatest fear? Today, we dive into Evil Dead Rise. The chilling new chapter in the legendary Evil Dead franchise. Released in 2023, this movie takes the horror out of the woods and into the heart of a crumbling city. But there's more to it than just blood and screams. In this video, you'll discover how Evil Dead Rise connects to the original cult classics, the hidden secrets behind the Necronomicon, and shocking facts about the movie's production that even hardcore fans don't know. Stay with us till the end, because we'll reveal a spine-tingling twist hidden in plain sight, one that changes the way you see the entire film. Welcome to Movies Review, where we bring movies to life in ways you've never seen before. If you love exploring movies beyond the surface, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our growing community. When Beth, a guitar technician constantly on the move, decides to visit her estranged sister Ellie, she hopes for a short, peaceful reunion. Instead, she walks straight into a nightmare. Set in a worn-down Los Angeles apartment complex, the movie wastes no time in creating a sense of unease. Things take a horrifying turn when an earthquake shakes the building, opening a hidden vault deep beneath the parking garage. Inside, young Danny, Ellie's son, discovers something ancient and evil, the Necronomicon, also known as the Book of the Dead. Despite warnings carved into its pages, Danny opens the book and plays an eerie recording found alongside it. What follows is a brutal awakening of demonic forces. Evil takes root inside their small home, twisting family love into pure horror. Ellie becomes the first victim, transforming into a monstrous force that no longer recognizes her children. Now trapped inside their own apartment with no escape, Beth and the kids must face unimaginable terror. The plot moves fast but never feels rushed. Every corner of the apartment becomes a battlefield. Every sound behind a door could be the last thing you hear. And as the night deepens, survival becomes less about fighting the monsters outside and more about resisting the demons within. Stay tuned, because the deeper story behind this simple plot holds secrets that tie it tightly to the Evil Dead legacy. One of the strongest elements of Evil Dead Rise is how it builds emotional connections through its characters before unleashing chaos. Beth steps into the role of an unlikely hero. At first, she's uncertain, even selfish. Haunted by her own personal fears, she's the last person you'd expect to lead a battle for survival. But as the night wears on, Beth's hidden strength rises to the surface. She transforms into a fierce protector, especially for the youngest family member, Cassie. Ellie, portrayed beautifully by Alyssa Sutherland, is the heart of the family. A single mother struggling to keep everything together, Ellie represents unconditional love, and that's what makes her possession all the more heartbreaking. Watching her turn from nurturing to nightmarish shows the real horror of the film, losing the ones we love. Then there's Danny and Bridget, the older kids. Danny's curiosity and guilt are critical to the story. Without him, the book would have stayed buried. His actions show how even good intentions can unleash unimaginable evil. Bridget, caught between loyalty and survival, faces her own tragic transformation, which forces the family to make brutal choices. Finally, Cassie, the youngest child, brings a rare innocence to the movie. Her attempts to make sense of the horror unfolding around her pull at your heartstrings. She reminds viewers that, at its core, Evil Dead Rise is a story about family, twisted, broken, but desperately clinging to each other when darkness falls. Forget the lonely cabins deep in the woods. Evil Dead Rise drags the terror into the heart of the city, into a crumbling apartment tower where escape is almost impossible. The shift from remote forests to cramped hallways makes the horror feel closer, more claustrophobic. Every neighbor, every locked door, every broken elevator becomes a threat. The apartment itself feels alive. The peeling wallpaper, flickering lights, and damp corridors add layers of dread. You can almost smell the decay through the screen. And when the demonic forces begin to spread, the building becomes a prison. Not just for Beth and the kids, but for the fear itself. This urban setting changes the rules. In a cabin, you expect isolation. In a city, you expect help to be nearby. But in Evil Dead Rise, help never comes. The broken world outside mirrors the broken family inside. Director Lee Cronin uses every inch of the building to trap his characters, showing that sometimes the scariest place to be isn't far away in the woods. It's right next door. At first glance, Evil Dead Rise seems like a straight-up survival horror movie. But beneath the blood and terror, powerful themes run deep. Family bonds are at the center of everything. The movie asks a brutal question. How far would you go to save someone you love if they were no longer themselves? Beth's journey reflects themes of motherhood and protection. She starts as someone unsure about having children of her own. By the end, she becomes the ultimate protector, fighting tooth and nail to save her niece. Her evolution from fear to fierce love is one of the movie's hidden emotional pillars. The film also carries a warning about tampering with things that should remain buried. The Necronomicon represents forbidden knowledge, tempting, dangerous, and ultimately destructive. Danny's curiosity mirrors real-world cautionary tales about humanity's thirst for power and discovery, often at terrible costs. These layers give Evil Dead Rise more depth than a typical horror film. It's not just about surviving the night. It's about facing what's inside us, our fears, our guilt, and our instincts to protect, even when all hope is gone. True Evil Dead fans will spot the many nods and winks hidden throughout this movie. While Evil Dead Rise stands as its own story, it firmly belongs to the universe Sam Raimi built decades ago. The Necronomicon remains the evil heart of the franchise. In fact, fans who look closely will notice that the book here isn't identical to the ones seen in past films. This hints at a wider mythos, that multiple Necronomicons exist, each capable of summoning different horrors. This subtle change expands the Evil Dead world without rewriting its history. Sound effects, camera angles, and even certain phrases call back to the earlier movies. There's a special attention to the chaotic, almost gleeful violence that made the originals so iconic. Yet, Evil Dead Rise doesn't rely too much on nostalgia. It carves its own brutal path while honoring the blood-soaked roots that came before. If you're a longtime fan, spotting these connections feels like a reward. And if you're new to the franchise, don't worry. The movie welcomes you into its nightmare with open, bloody arms. Since its release, Evil Dead Rise has been praised by critics and fans alike for breathing fresh life into the franchise. Many reviews highlight how the movie balances pure horror with real emotional weight. It's not just scary, it's tragic. Seeing a mother turn into a monster and her children fight for survival hits harder than simple jump scares. Critics also applauded the new urban setting, calling it a bold move that modernized the franchise without losing its spirit. Director Lee Cronin received special praise for his ability to capture the chaotic energy of earlier Evil Dead films, while creating something uniquely his own. Fans of classic horror loved the practical effects, the clever makeup, and the gut-wrenching sound design. Others admired how the movie didn't hold back. Evil Dead Rise is unapologetically brutal, yet never feels cheap or exploitative. Every drop of blood, every scream, every tragic decision feels earned. In short, Evil Dead Rise proved that horror isn't just alive in 2023, it's evolving, and it's more terrifying than ever. Evil Dead Rise isn't just another horror movie, it's a brutal, emotional journey that shows how horror can still surprise us, even after decades of blood-soaked stories. By moving the terror into an urban apartment and focusing on a family torn apart by evil, the film breathes new life into a beloved franchise. It proves that modern horror doesn't have to rely on cheap scares. It can be powerful, emotional, and deeply unsettling. The movie reminds us that true horror isn't just about monsters hiding in the shadows. Sometimes it's about the people we love changing into something we can't recognize, and the impossible choices we must make to survive. If you're looking for a horror film that blends brutal action with real emotional depth, Evil Dead Rise is a must-watch. It honors the spirit of the original series while boldly carving out a terrifying new path. Trust me, this is one movie you'll be thinking about long after the credits roll. Thank you so much for watching our review and summary of Evil Dead Rise. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep dives into the best and boldest movies out there, make sure to like this video and subscribe now always to our channel Movies Review. We've got a lot more thrilling content coming your way, and you won't want to miss it. Until next time, stay safe and beware of what might be lurking behind the door. Boo!